During the 2022 Tekken World Tour Finals, a major bombshell was dropped on us regarding the Tekken 8 gameplay. So I was expecting a trailer, and what we got was a 30-minute presentation detailing all, if not most, of the gameplay systems in Tekken 8. I really wasn't planning to make a video, but there was just too much to cover and too much things that potentially weigh in on the future of the game and just exactly where the franchise is going. So I feel like this is a part of Tekken history that I just wanted to be a part of. So I'm just going to give my general thoughts on just what we saw in this extended presentation. And I don't have a script, so I'm just kind of going off some notes. So starting off with the presentation, character models, I think they look great. There's a lot more detail in the animations. I like the pre-fight animations that Paul and Law did, especially Paul. It reminds me of what he did in Tekken 3 and Tag. And I really miss those, and I'm glad they're back. I hope they get to have character unique dialogue as well, and some of the intro cutscenes or exit cutscenes. So I like that they have incorporated that. The UI is okay. I'm not, it's neither here or there for me. So that's inoffensive. The hit effects, again, I'm okay with them. The sound effects, it's fine with me. But overall, I think it's very positive, thinking very positively with the presentation and just how everything is looking. So that aside, let's go into the actual gameplay changes. So first off, with the rage system. So there's no more rage drives. They have now only rage arts and the increased damage when there's rage. So this was early on in the presentation, so, obviously I'm like, okay, they're going to replace it with something else. We know heat's coming, so it's not a huge deal. The only thing is that there might be more rage arts depending on how things are balanced, and I wasn't a big fan of the very long animation rage arts, which seem to be coming back in full force here, but I'll get over it. It's really not a big deal. We could see him once around, but even in Tekken 7, we didn't see rage arts every round or rage drives every round, at least in the level of plays that I've seen or that I've experienced. So it's not going to be a big deal. But the juicy part is when they started explaining the heat system. So this is something that's apparently foundational to Tekken 8. And what it is that it's a bar that you get once per round, that once engaged, you get new move hit properties, chip damage, recoverable health. When I saw the recoverable health, I feel like I was getting a heart attack. This was like a progressively getting stronger and stronger heart attack as this presentation went on, and this was like the moment of death for me. Chip damage in Tekken. Oh my goodness. Looking at the explanation of everything, I feel a little bit better about it. So this chip damage apparently only happens in this heat mode, and what it does is reward aggression. Aggression is something they said a lot in the presentation. Rewarding aggression by having people who are in heat do chip damage against the enemy players, and the chip damage is recoverable by doing attacks. So aggression on the attacking end and aggression on the recovery end as well. So I'm concerned, I won't say concerned, it's just going to be very different. It's going to be very different. And I guess my concern is not really the amount of, unga bunga necessarily, because, what's not changing, at least from what we see, is the hit recovery. So like if there was very tight recovery on all the hits, then you could just make a bunch of combo strings and stuff like that. So those kinds of games never really appealed to me, like the Marvel Dragon Ball Fighters kind of stuff. I love the aesthetic of it, but being in block stun and just waiting for a chance to strike was never really appealing. I thought it was very boring to watch, so having that would have been a bad thing, and luckily I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think the attacker is going to be incentivized to attack, but I don't think they have move properties that just make it impossible to defend against. Movement seems to be a defensive option still, as well as backdashing. I don't know how strong those things are going to be, but they did mention that those are going to be available still. So I don't think we're gonna be seeing like Dead or Alive style, or like DBZ style, or Street Fighter style. We're just needing to block string upon string upon string, and waiting for like an overhead or something like that. It's gonna be closer to that, but I don't think we're gonna be in that realm necessarily. My only concern is just this the thing about the character playstyles, because some characters favor that kind of playstyle in Tekken, like your Hwoarang and Nina, and some characters don't. Some characters are more of your wait and punish types, so they're not going to benefit from this chip damage, aggression health as much as these other characters. But that also comes down to a matter of balance. Perhaps these other aggressive type, Steve Hwoarang characters are going to have less damage to compensate for this advantage in their playstyle being baked into it. But at the same time, those defensive playstyles are going to be a little bit more muted. So even if you're not getting as much damage on the attacking end with those characters, the defensive aspect of it is still going to be a little bit questionable to me, and I'd like to see how that plays out. So in the heat, you activate it in two ways. One is a safe way. I think it was like a heat, maybe heat burst, I believe. I forgot what these were called, but I'm just gonna say heat burst. Safe way, just activate heat in one unified way, and then the other way is a heat engager, I believe, where there's several moves that each character has which can activate heat once it's successful. So this is where the character expression comes in, depending on which moves are mapped for each character to have this heat engager. And once this engager is done, it automatically goes into heat mode. When you do it the safe way, with the heat burst way, you get 1 token, and when you do it the heat engager way, you get 2 tokens. So the 2 token way is the one that's rewarding the player for playing the character the way the character needs to be played, and that reward is an extra action that burns the heat gauge. So 1 token is a heat dash, a heat dash, which allows you to convert combos or do wall carries. Takes 1 token, so you could do 2 heat dashes in a combo potentially if you don't start with one. Another is a heat smash, which is like a big powerful attack that takes up 1 or both tokens. It takes up all of your tokens, and eliminates heat. So this seems to be the replacement for rage drives. In Tekken 7 currently, rage drives are usually activated by either having good properties, so you can have them as a launcher, or some of them are better off as finishers, depending on the properties. They're usually safer, but their uses were a little varied from character to character, and it seems to be even more so with this heat system. And I really liked what they did here, because it takes all the action and freedom that you get, the excitement that you get from having the rage drive, and instead of putting it towards the end of it when you're at very little health and you can really not do much anyway, and putting it all the way to the front so you have it up available from the beginning of the match, and there's a lot more room to use and express how you want to use this tool. So again, I'm pretty happy with this. I don't think it's one of those things that's just gonna make everything super high damaging or anything like that. I mean, in Tekken 7 already, we have very high damaging combos. You get someone with a good launcher, you could take away over half their health depending on the walls and spacing that's already there. So instead of having that automatically, you get that through expressal condition, and you have to use your tokens or use this resource in order to cash in on getting that big damage, or use your pressure and chip the opponent to and there's a whole freedom thing there too. They confirmed that chip damage won't kill an opponent, so very, very relieved for that. So I think this makes sense. I think people that are veterans of the game are not going to have a hard time with it. It's going to be a little weird just pressing a button and doing this whole thing, but honestly, this is not that far out of the realm for what we're already doing in Tekken 7, so I don't think this is a dumbing down of sorts. I think this is going to be a pretty robust system. I think everyone's really going to be able to enjoy it. So again, with the defensive options, I think we're still going to be able to sidestep. Just going to be able to backdash. I'm concerned that maybe the backdash won't be too strong. They won't want people to safely Korean backdash out of the pressure situation that they're incentivizing here with the heat system. But it looks like they definitely want more active matches, so I think sidestepping is still going to be a major component, and frame data and matchup knowledge is still going to be a very major component of being able to defend and take your turn in this game. So again, I'm in favor of this. I'm looking forward to seeing how all the different characters are shown off in this heat system. So it's very much something to look forward to. And in this game, they also incorporated special controls. So they mapped the important moves for each character and mapped juggle combos to repeated button presses. So it's a little bit more arcadey. If you don't remember the exact combo, you can toggle it and then just mash a button and it'll do different combos depending on what button you press. So again, I think this is a great change, or a great thing to have in the game, especially in conjunction with this heat burst, heat, dash, smash, all that stuff. It makes it very easy to jump from character to character. So of course it's going to be great for beginners that are not as familiar with the characters as well. But even for people like me, I've been playing this game for a long time now, since Tekken 3, and a little bit more competitively or serious minded since Tekken 6. And even then, I only have like 3 characters, 1 main character. And it's very difficult to get to other characters that I'm interested in. So even though I have played 3-4 characters, they're all, I love the characters in Tekken. I'd play 10 of them if I could. And this kind of gives me the ability to do that. So I have some that I can play seriously. Some I could just go in, mash some buttons, and just be cool with that character. So I'm totally in favor with the special controls. It's going to be a little sad that I won't be able to map all my shoulder buttons, since they're going to have dedicated buttons for these kinds of things. I think one for toggling between the special controls or not. So maybe there's a way I can do it to one of the stick drives, the stick buttons, so I don't have to use my shoulder buttons for my my combo button mapping. Oh yeah, and they also, speaking of buttons, they also made all the rage arts the same button press. I think it's down, forward, 1+2. So that makes things a little consistent. Again, a little bit easier across the board. No problems there. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the presentation end. Just real quickly on Nina, love her designs. I love her design. I love that she's using her guns a bit more, and the wacky animation of Lars getting shot in the back. I'm like, okay, this is a pretty a fun take on the character. It really spices her up. And yeah, again, 2 thumbs up. I'm loving what I'm seeing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of the other new characters and how they're going to be changing in Tekken 7, especially Yoshimitsu, my main, of course. It's always going to be great to see it. So I'm liking the direction so far. So in conclusion, I'm liking the direction. It definitely seems less fighting game and more just game, which is gonna ruffle some feathers. It already is ruffling feathers, but in my opinion, I think this is a good thing. Something that the fighting games typically lack, or a lot of casual-minded modes, and I think that this change is an indicator that they're going to be looking at just what the viewer experience is, how to make the game the most engaging and fun to play, and I hope that this leads to more modes that we could use, like I don't want to say like Tekken Force or something like that, but other things that we can do besides just fighting each other and having one health bar go down. There's plenty of games that have played with the health system, bars, stuff like that, and I think the way that they're doing it here is, well, I won't say elegant, but it's not nonsensical. They have a clear focus to make things aggressive and more offensive oriented, because defense is so extremely strong in Tekken as it is, and the way they've done it still doesn't strip away that defensive viability. Not inherently, at least, unless they they nerf the movement option. So and we'll have to see once we get our hands on it. So yeah, change is scary, but change is necessary. There's a lot of potential good that comes with this. To have the game expand in scope is something that I feel like was desperately needed, especially after the experience of Tekken 7. But I think with Tekken 8 and the direction that they're going in, I think it's going to be a bright future. I honestly do. I mean, we're gonna have to play the game and see how it is, but just being optimistic for a second, it'd be great to have a Tekken game and these Japanese games, fighting games, finally get to a level where, okay, well, we can have great modes, great online, great characters, story, and be able to be basically full games that can rival those like Elden Ring and all these other huge games that can attract all types of people, not just the most like competitive die-hard fighting game fans. So every time you need to change, any big change is scary, but it is necessary. So that's it. Just thanks for listening to me, and yeah, we'll let's see more Tekken 8. Let's go.
Isn't it past your bedtime?